How much power do you need? That's a question I'm often asked, and let's just talk about it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to blitz you through a couple upfront things, explain how sensitivity is calculated, what sensitivity actually means, show you the difference between anechoic sensitivity versus in-room sensitivity, and then show you what happens when you put the speaker in the room in terms of overall SPL, how to factor in the content that you're listening to, because you're not listening to 0 dB test tones, you're listening to music or movies, and then how to best determine the outputs that you need in order to get the level that you want. If you go to my website, aaronsaudiocorner.com, and go to the loudspeakers tab, then you'll see a list of all the speakers that I've measured over the years. So we're going to start off with the Arendal 1528 Monitor 8. If you scroll down a little ways, you'll get to the point where I show some response linearity and I show the impedance. The response linearity is the average SPL taken from 300 hertz to 3 kilohertz. Why did I choose that? Because there's a couple standards that follow it, and to me, it just makes the most sense. Many manufacturers will, let's just say they BS these numbers. Some of them will say that the sensitivity is based on in-room measurements. Some of them will use different ways to calculate it, like pick the highest value. I don't do that. I use 300 hertz to 3 kilohertz. I also reference this to 2.83 volts, 1 meter. Now hang on, we're going to come back to that. In this example, you can see the measured sensitivity is about 84.4 decibels. We also need to know the impedance of the speaker. We're going to focus on just the red portion, which is the magnitude of the impedance. I call out that it is a minimum of 3.8 ohm, but then if you look down here, you can see that on average, I think 4 ohm is probably a reasonable number to go with. So that's what we're going to use in this example. Since I use 2.83 volts at 1 meter, you may be a little bit confused. Some manufacturers will use 1 watt 1 meter, and then some use 2.83 volts 1 meter. Now, what's the difference? Well, the 2.83 volts 1 meter is agnostic of the load. It basically says if you feed this speaker this voltage, this is the sensitivity that you're going to read. The 1 watt 1 meter is different. So it is based on the load. And that's why I like the 2.83 volts. But if you're curious how to convert, here you go. If I have a speaker that's measured 85 decibels, 2.83 volts 1 meter at 4 ohm, and I want to convert that to 1 watt 1 meter, then I subtract 3 decibels and I got 82 decibels. It's worth noting that 2.83 volts 1 meter is also referenced to an 8 ohm load. So if you have a speaker impedance of 8 ohm and it's measured at 2.83 volt 1 meter, there is no adjustment needed and you are at 85 decibels at 1 watt. Now that I've got that out of the way, let's talk about the difference between stepping from a speaker in a anechoic environment to a room and so on. So we're going to use an example of a speaker that measures at 85 decibels at 1 watt 1 meter, and I'm just going to assume that this is a nominal 8 ohm load speaker to make things easy for us. In this graphic, you see power on the x-axis and SPL on the y-axis. Looking at this graphic, just to sanity check myself, I'm going to look at 1 watt and I'm going to see what my SPL reading is. 85 decibels. That makes sense because I'm using a speaker that is 85 decibels at 1 watt 1 meter. With those same anechoic conditions, what happens when we add a second speaker? As you can see, the second speaker results in about 3 decibels output. Now, this assumes that you have 2 speakers anechoic and they are summed perfectly. Basically, they're playing mono and you're sitting dead center. Left-right speakers don't always play the exact same sound, so there is going to be some variability, and you're looking typically anywhere from about maybe 0 decibels to 3 decibels max gain when it's perfectly correlated. Now, using this 2-speaker notion, let's go back to looking at the 2 speakers anechoically measured. So we see we're around 87 decibels, but then we're going to look at what happens when you put the pair of speakers in a room at 1 meter still. You increase by about 3 decibels, again, due to that room enforcement. Now, if the speakers were actually loaded on the wall or really, really close to the wall, then there could be as much as 6 decibels gain. But for typical placement in a room, 3 decibels is kind of the rule of thumb. Previously, we've been talking about using a 0 dBFS tone, basically a sine sweep or a sine tone that plays at full range. There's no dynamic range. Music is not like that. Pink noise is not like that. So essentially what we've been talking about is best case scenario in terms of power. Now, If you consider that music typically has some dynamic range to it, then you have to factor in how much additional power you're going to need. Good music will have a dynamic range of, I would say, above about 12 decibels. And I have a whole video talking about this if you want to go check that out. Poor music, just trash, junk music, will have no dynamic range. And I would say essentially from maybe 3 decibels to 0 decibels. And then standard compressed music that I would consider maybe modern pop or 90s rock, rap, pop is going to have about 6 decibels of dynamic range. So if you're like me and you listen to music that tends to have dynamic range that is a higher level, 12 decibels, then you're going to need a lot more power than you would if you're talking about just straight test tones. So let's see what we get in terms of graphic form. In this example, we're going to go back to talking about just one speaker, anechoic, and this is kind of baselining us, okay? So if we look at the speaker and we say that we're feeding it a straight test tone, we're going to get 85 decibels with 1 watt. If you play music that has about 6 decibels of dynamic range, then you can take 6 off of 85 and you're around 79 decibels. If you listen to music that has a higher dynamic range, such as 12 decibels, then you take off another 6. So that 85 minus 12, now you're going to be at about 73. And that's going to be down here. So basically what this tells us is that 1 watt isn't giving us as much as we might expect it to if we're basing this solely on a sensitivity spec. You have to factor in that music is dynamic and has a wide range. And just for what it's worth, I tend to find that pink noise will have a dynamic range of anywhere from about 6 to 10 decibels. I've found various sources over the last 20 years, and typically that's what I see. Now we're going to take everything we've just discussed and we're going to roll it into what happens when you put a pair of speakers in a room and listen to music that has about 12 decibels of dynamic range. How much power are you going to need to achieve XSPL? In this case, what I'm targeting is 85 decibels SPL. And I'm saying that if I'm about 2 meters away for the pair of speakers in a room, I'm going to need about 15 watts. If I'm 3 meters away, I'm going to need about 35 watts. And if I'm 4 meters away, I'm going to need about 63 watts. So let's focus specifically on the 3 meters. And the reason I've chosen 3 meters is because most people tend to listen at around 3 meters listening distance or so. If you're lower than that, great. If you're a little bit above that, pay extra attention to some of these graphics. We're going to assume 3 meters listening distance, but we're also going to assume 3 different sensitivity measurements, all taken at 8 ohm, which gives us 1 watt, 1 meter, okay? So if we do that and we look at a speaker with 82 decibel sensitivity, we're going to need about 71 watts to hit 85 decibels. If we're going to need 35 watts for a 85 decibel sensitivity speaker, and we're going to need 17 watts for a speaker with 88 decibels of sensitivity. We know from earlier that when we talk about 2.83 volts, 1 meter, with a nominal 8 ohm load, that works out to be 1 watt, 1 meter. For a 4 ohm speaker, 2.83 volts results in about 2 watts. So we have to cut off 3 dB to get down to 1 watt. So if we do that, this is the result that we get. We're going to have to increase the power to 35 watts to hit 85 decibels for a speaker sensitivity of 88 decibels. This 88 decibels at 2.83 volts, 1 meter, 4 ohm load is kind of rare. It's not entirely rare, but that is on the higher side of sensitivity for most domestic speakers. I'm not talking pro audio, but most domestic speakers. The standard usually comes around 85 decibels or so. And if we look at this green line, which represents 85 decibels, we see we're going to need about 71 watts to achieve 85 decibels in room. If you have a speaker that has low sensitivity, which I've measured plenty of them, you'll see that you need about 142 watts for an 82 dB sensitivity speaker to achieve 85 decibels. Now, that's a good bit of power, and sure, 85 decibels is kind of loud for some people, but for other people, that's just getting started. To calculate what you actually need for your specific situation, I like to use this online calculator from Benchmark Electronics. And as a sanity check, what I've done here is I've set up a speaker sensitivity at 85 decibels, 2.83 volts, 1 meter, or 1 watt, with a nominal load of 8 ohms. I've also said the speaker is 1 meter away, there is just one speaker and it's an anechoic measurement. Those conditions should net me the same SPL at my seated position as the anechoic sensitivity reading itself. And to check that, we just look down here. See, we get the same music level. So let's change this to say we've got a speaker that has a sensitivity of 85 decibels at 2.83 volts, but it's a 4 ohm load. Now, earlier I talked about the difference between 8 ohm and 4 ohm, assuming that you're going 2.83 volt, is to simply take 3 decibels off the 8 ohm, and now you've got the equivalent of the 4 ohm speaker. So we changed this right here to where it will say 82 decibels, and now we're looking down here. Yep, still 82 decibels. We're good to go. What we want to do is say, all right, well, if I'm listening to music that has 12 decibels of dynamic range, I'm going to take this value, I'm going to bring it down to 70. 82 minus 12 is 70. And now we're going to say, how much power do I need? So we're going to leave this one blank for now. We're going to say, we're at about 3 meters away. We've got 2 pair of speakers, and we're in a typical listening room. This one right here, the speaker's mounted on or in the front wall, would be that if the speakers literally were mounted like in-wall speakers or so close to the wall that they might as well be part of the wall. Now, let's say we're trying to target a SPL of 85 right down here. Well, we're going to keep increasing this value. Let's try 100. Hey, that's pretty close. What about 90? Well, that's close. What about 80 watts? Okay, 80 watts seems reasonable. Now, we would keep changing this until we get to something that kind of makes a little bit more sense. What I would recommend is don't stop when you first get to that number. I would go down. If I go from 80 watts to 60 watts, I've moved down from 85 to 84. So now I'm going to go back up, because what I want to do is I want to see what's the minimum power that I need to get that targeted SPL. So I'm going to type in 70 watts. And again, I got 85 decibels. This is the power needed to give you output capable of 85 decibels that also allows for 12 decibels of dynamic range. But let's say you listen to music that doesn't really have a lot of dynamic range. I'm going to go back to our 85 decibel speaker. With it being 4 ohm, I need to change this right here to 82 decibels because this is assuming 8 ohms. And then I'm going to say that I only want about 6 decibels of dynamic range. I'm going to change this to 76. 82 minus 6 is 76. And now down here, we're saying at 70 watts, we can hit 91 dB. Well, we don't need 91. We're just trying to target 85 or so on average. So let's just chop that in half. Nope, that's not quite enough. Let's go down to, let's just say 18. Okay, 18 watts lands us at about 85 decibels SPL. For those of you who maybe don't want to deal with an online calculator, listen, I get it. Unfortunately, there is no one size fits all. I would say that for most people, 50 to 100 watts is going to be adequate for your average listening scenario, your typical distance, and your typical output volume, assuming that you have music that isn't highly compressed. Of course, this all hinges on a number of factors such as speaker sensitivity and the music content that you're listening to. You could probably get away with a few watts if you listen at low volume and highly compressed music. But if you listen at high volume and you listen far away and you listen to music with 20 decibels of dynamic range, then you're going to have to reconsider the power outputs that you need in order to achieve that dynamic range. But that alone doesn't solve the entire equation, because your speaker has to be able to maintain its output capability at those higher levels. And that's why compression graphs like the one you see here are so beneficial, because it gives us an idea of what the speaker is capable of doing if you were to charge it with a high instantaneous peak of power. That's it for this video. I hope you learned something. I'll have the link to the Benchmark website below, and I will talk to y'all later. Take care. Peace.